Hi, I'm Rachel here with my cat Leia, and I'm here to talk about my first March AM reading update for the weekend. Well, this AM reading update should look relatively familiar to those of you who saw my last AM reading update, because I'm basically talking about the exact same books. I did not get far at all in the goals that I set for myself last weekend. My biggest reading accomplishment really didn't have much to do with reading at all, but it was personally important to me. I put out my literary newsletter on my website, which I will link down below. It's basically the second anniversary of that literary newsletter, and it's what catapulted me into more prolific reading and to being more involved in the bookish world. In that newsletter, I include excerpts of the reviews I wrote on Goodreads for the 6 books I finished in February. I also have a book pick spotlight because I work with a lot of books. And I do a book tag, and I showcase my TBR, and it's a lot of fun. But now on to the books that I hoped to finish in February, but alas did not. So here we are again with the Bronte Myth by Lucasta Miller. I think my main problem with this book is that I need some long periods of time to just sit down and read it. I'm really engrossed, but it also takes me a while to get through it. It's not a quick, easy read. There's a lot of information in it, but I just need the time when it's not late at night, when I should be sleeping perhaps, to just give this book its due and to delve into the myth of the Brontes. At the very least, I hope to have this finished by the end of March, when PBS, Masterpiece Theatre, I believe, will be showing the BBC production from last year, which was a dramatization of the Brontes in the final 3 years of Branwell and Emily and Anne's lives, roughly speaking. Basically when the sisters wrote their famous novels and things changed significantly. I think it'll actually be interesting to piece that film into the idea of the Bronte myth, because I'm pretty sure it's not entirely accurate. I've even read today some people who are scholars of the Brontes who disagree with the direction that the film went. So it's always interesting to see how people have taken the story of the Brontes and what they focus on and why. And I feel like this book is really opening my eyes to what I've focused on with the Brontes and how maybe I could see a fuller picture after reading this book. Next we have Prayers for the Living by Cheuse, which I have not started at all in the last week. So rather than rehash all of the stuff that I said then, I think I'll just read from the back. Or the side flap, more accurately. National Public Radio commentator Cheuse's expansive novel is both grandiose in its vision and loving in its familiarity. Presented in a series of conversations between grandmother Minnie Block and her companions, this novel creates a layered family portrait of 3 generations of the Block family, whose members are collapsing under everyday burdens and brutal betrayals. Her son Manny is a renowned, almost legendary rabbi. Respected by his congregants and surrounded by family, he yearns secretly for a life of greater personal glory. When an oracular bird delivers what Manny believes to be a message from his deceased father, he abandons his pulpit in pursuit of a life in business, and his entire life spirals out of control. As his fortunes rise in the corporate realm, Manny falls deeper into an affair with a congregant. His wife's alcoholism and depression become more profound, and his daughter Sarah is sexually traumatized at a nearby college. Incapable of offering either his wife or daughter the support they need, Manny becomes the target of Sarah's plot to shatter his beloved new empire. The devoted family matriarch, Minnie, observes and recounts her family's tragic downfall with language as realistic and incantatory as any dreamer's can be. Move over, Ishmael. Here comes Minnie Block. I think this is the type of book that Steve Donahue would describe as the literary upper middle class and divorce in Connecticut type of book. It's definitely a subgenre that I am invested in. Mostly what I mean is Jewish family drama books. I didn't read any of them in February, so I gotta get back on my game here. This is actually the book that my book club read last month that I couldn't go to, so I have to read this book and then get on to the next one sooner or later. I'm actually on the hold list for that one in the library, so I still have a little time. And finally, for the last couple days at lunch at work, I've been reading from the Women's TORAH commentary. I also referenced this in my January book wrap-up last month. This book takes the sections of the Torah that Jews read from every Shabbat, and a female rabbi takes a gander at them from a lady perspective, often highlighting the female characters of the Bible and other matters as they apply to women. The segment that we'll actually be reading from tomorrow at services deals with the Mishkan, which is building the sanctuary for the Ark of the Covenant, and it has very explicit instructions on how to do this in the Bible. Rabbi Sharon L. Sobel focuses a lot on the image of God going from this remote, distant sort of image to an interpersonal God. That part of building the Mishkan is about building a place for God within ourselves. There's also some language from Exodus that is very directly about including women on this journey, which is very exciting because usually we have to go on the plural pronouns to feel included. The rabbi brings us to a more feminist perspective in this passage. Some feminists have been troubled that the God of the Torah seems to be primarily a transcendent God, and that this is the model that our male commentators and the rabbis have perpetuated. This description of God in our parsha as an indwelling presence, however, shows another angle. God wants to live among us, and God wants us to feel that divine love in an intimate way. And then she goes on to quote a medieval commentator, Isaac Abravanel, who was from medieval Spain, and I actually just read a fictionalized version of him in a book that I read in January called The Mapmaker's Daughter. So that's where I stand right now with my reading. I'd love to hear what you're reading and perhaps what you procrastinated on last month that you now have to get to this month. Hopefully I'm not alone here. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.